What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the online outrage for Dying Light 2's game length. Now, I want to come across very clear. I want to come across very open. I have nothing against if you like how long this game is. If you hate it, truly does not matter to me. I know, and I'm very aware that everybody has their different gaming preferences and different, gaming play styles. I'm going to tell you what I feel about it, and of course, we're going to read what they said in case you guys missed the news. So this happened on Saturday, and again, this blew up. This absolutely blew up. They said to fully complete Dying Light 2, you'll need at least 500 hours, almost as long as it would take to walk from Warsaw to Madrid. And this tweet, 17,500 likes, 6.6 thousand retweets, almost 2,000 replies. So this absolutely, this exploded. Then they responded to it, and they said, note, it's about 100% completion rate. Most of the players who are in for story and side quests will be able to complete the game quicker. It will still be a solid experience, though. And then later on, they said update. So their reply wasn't enough, I guess. And they said update 500 hours is related to maxing out the game, finishing all quests, all endings, and exploring every part of the world. But a regular player should finish the story plus side quests and do quite a lot of exploring in less than 100 hours. So don't worry. And then that, set people off. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm not going to tell you, how to play your games or what games to like. I'm fully aware that I have different gaming styles than some of the people, or some of the community, right, on the channel. I will tell you from my personal perspective, though, I'm not a fan. Hearing it out loud, of course, makes it sound like, holy dear God. And I get it. Because if you get this game, and this is the only game you buy, and that's, I think, what some people are kind of forgetting about, right? There are definitely people that only buy a handful of games, A, like a year, but B, maybe they only buy games very specifically based off of how long it is to play them, and they just play them. I mean, like Assassin's Creed is a good example, in my opinion, of how to not do it, right? Those recent games are very bloated. Yes, you can spend hundreds of hours in them, but they're not, I feel, or like a Far Cry, right? That it's just padding. It's copying and pasting. It's nothing really magical. I think, to me, one of the games that does it maybe the best, and I'm trying to go through in my mind the other games, Witcher 3 is probably a really good example of, that's a big game. But even that, and I know that was a while ago, right? Like, we're talking now, 7 years ago? Like, that was a long, long time ago, and you look at it and you say, all right, well, I don't know, to do everything, kind of everything, you're looking at 50, 60, and I guess that's the base game. I spent 92 hours playing through it, and I did both of the DLCs, but I did skip some stuff. And I guess that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Even Witcher, even a game that I think does meaningless things that you throw into games like collectibles or repeatable quests that are all kind of the same, right? They do it probably the best out of quite a few different games. But even them, there's still some padding. There's still some, okay, this isn't exactly necessary, or there's no way I'm going to go out to sea and swim down and get 500 different, treasure chests that are in there. A lot of that's in the DLC, right? I'm not going to do that. So even a game like that I think is probably what you look for in how to design an open world game where quests are all meaningful, side quests are all meaningful, even they mess up. And we're not even talking 100 hours, at least to me. You know what I mean? It's not. Dying Light, the first Dying Light, takes, I think the how long to beat average time for the story, I think, was 17 and a half hours for Dying Light. And if you did everything, maybe you get up to 50 or slightly less. So this game, and I think that's kind of what's worrying people. I think that's fair, right? Because they make it known that, all right, that first tweet blew up, and then they keep saying, if you do the story, the update, finishing all the quests, endings, and exploring every part of the world, that's 500 hours. But a regular player should finish the story and side quests and do quite a lot of exploring in less than 100 hours. Now, again, 100 hours to spend in a world, it's rarely been done. 100 hours. So you're talking maybe 10 to 20 hours for the story mission. I mean, that's just, you're not going to get a 50, 55-hour story mission arc in a game like this. You're just not. You know what I mean? So you're looking at maybe 10, 20, maybe 25, and I mean, I think that's kind of outrageous, and that probably won't happen. So they're saying another 60 or so for side quests, and then maybe 10 hours or so for exploring. But then how do you get from one, this is where I kind of am like confused. How do you get from 100, right? Because they say less than 100. How do you get from 100 to 5? What are you going to be doing in 400 hours? I don't think it would take you 400 hours to beat the game in the different endings, especially if you rush them. So there's no way that's true. I don't know. Like, what kind of collectibles are in this game that's going to take you 400 hours to find, right? So, you know, that, to me, that's where I come down on it. I think 500 hours is, but again, I don't want to be like ignorant to it. I don't want to be like just downright stupid, right? Because there are definitely people, you know, we've had this discussion, and I don't want to come across, and I don't think I am, because I've always been pretty consistent in this. I just want like good games. And if you give me an 8-hour game, but the quality is good throughout, that's enough for me. If you give me a 6-hour game and that's, you know, the quality is through. So like this past year, you know, we had games like Ratchet and Clank, relatively short game. Resident Evil Village, very short, right? When that game came out, people were complaining it's so short. But to be flat out honest with you, and I held this position then, and that's why you can't really say I'm like going against what I've said in the past, or like Kena, Bridge of Spirits. They're short games, but they keep you there. You know what I mean? It's Resident Evil is what, 6-7 hours, but you're there the entire time. You don't, in my opinion, you don't really feel pulled out, right? There's nothing that's like obnoxiously put in just to extend the length of time. Yeah, it's short, and you may feel ripped off. I mean, that's up to you. If you spend $60 and you don't think 8 hours is worth it, that's fine. But then 500 hours, again, I can see it. If Dying Light 2 is the only game you buy this entire year, I get it. You know what I mean? You can spend 500. But the thing is, of those 500 hours, how much is quality? And that's what I've said for Far Cry. That's what I've said for, sadly, it's a lot of like Ubisoft games. But you can say it for a lot of different games, really. If you have a gigantic game that's padded with so much fluff, it's like 80% fluff and that's 20% content in terms of like the length that you're playing it. Yeah, you're getting 500 hours. And you know, people told me that. People said, you know, I like, if it's not 60 hours per $60, I'm not getting it. All right, well, what if only 10 hours of those 60 hours are good? What if the other 50 are just copy and paste things? Which I look, you can't make a 500-hour game. Does that register to people? You can't do it. So what you have to do is you make a shorter game and then you copy and paste everything multiple times, and that's how you get to 500 hours. So there's really, in my opinion, no arguing that. There is 0% chance all 500 hours of this game is like insane quality content. It's just not. And honestly, I don't even think 100, 200 hours is going to be quality content. So in this case, and it's not like it's a Twitter mob that's going after Dying Light 2. I think people are just kind of saying what they feel. In this case, I would say I agree. I'm getting the game day one. Like, there's no doubt about it. I'm playing the game day one. I'm getting it day one. But I do not intend to spend... I don't have 500 hours, so there's no way I can spend it on this game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow me anywhere else, I have a Twitter. I have a second channel. I also have Patreon and YouTube memberships. They're all in the description below if you guys want to check them out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.